Alright, welcome back to Adore Cream Videos, people. Just to prove to you I'm not dead, because we've had a long time waiting for anything new to come out since the Prince's untimely passing. Having a bad hair day too, as you can see. Yeah. It's a kinky hair thing, but anyway, it's a, as Prince would say, a bushy-haired mulatto breakdown. And we're going to go back in time today. We're going to talk about something that happened quite a long time ago, or probably not that long ago, but still at a time when in my recent videos, the two biggest videos were the ones about Prince's concerts in New Zealand back in February. And of course at the time, had all the optimism, didn't know he was going to die soon. And I want to talk about the first Prince concert I ever went to. Now, as you know, I live in New Zealand and I've never really had the means to travel until basically the past few years, which have been fabulous. I've had a lot of money. I've met someone who likes to share all his wealth with me, and that's great. But we're going to talk about 2012. Now, 2012, a couple of tours back. We're going back before the Hit and Run and the Third Eye Girl Live Out Loud experience, or is it Live Out Loud? We're going back to the Welcome series of tours. It was Welcome to America, Welcome to Europe, Welcome to Canada, and then in the autumn of 2012, which was April and May of 2012, we had Welcome to Australia. Prince was 53 years old at the time, and this was probably really the last tour where Prince gave us a full band experience, and I was fortunate enough to go to one concert in this whole tour. This is a tour book, and these are tickets. These actually I actually bought online here in New Zealand. They're actually cheaper than the tickets I bought for the recent concerts, and I actually had to fly over to Melbourne on the day of the concert. As you can see, it's the 15th of May, which was actually, I think that was a Tuesday. Yes, it was. So I flew over there on Tuesday morning. Actually had to go into town and pick up the tickets, and I did, and got these tickets, and I also got this receipt. Now the problem was, because my hotel was out near the airport, I actually had to have these in my pocket the whole time, so I pretty much danced all over them. And as you can see, these tickets are the miraculous survivors from another age, basically. You know, I'm talking about 2012 like it was. I'm an archaeologist and I'm a historian. I like dealing with historic things that happened hundreds of thousands of years ago. And here I am going on about some tickets that aren't even 5 years old. But anyway, this was my first time, and I know it seems so lax, and you think, oh, I probably went to see Purple Rain, or oh, I went to see Diamonds and Pearls at least. Well, before this concert, the series of concerts in 2012, Prince, first of all, I think it started off as about 4 concerts, 1 in each city. I think 2 in Sydney, 1 in Melbourne and Brisbane. And Prince just kept adding to the list, so that by the end, I think Prince did about 8 or 9 concerts, and he did at least 3 in Melbourne. This was the second Melbourne concert. The first 2 concerts were in Sydney at the Aussies Arena on the 11th and 12th of May. Then he came to Melbourne and did 14th and 15th of May. Then I think he went to Brisbane or Perth, did a concert there. Came back to Sydney on the 22nd of May, and then came down to Melbourne on the 30th of May, did a few after shows. Unfortunately, the after show he did in Melbourne was on the night of the 14th of May when I was still in New Zealand, but I managed to get to this show anyway. It was at the Rod Laver Arena. It was 15,000 people, and it was almost sold out. But before I go further into this concert tour, I just want to tell you about my earlier background with Prince. First of all, when I first became a Prince fan, basically, the album Prince first came to Australia, because I'd never be able to get to England or America or anywhere like that, but Australia was always a possibility. Now what happened was Prince came to here. This is I think that's John Blackwell. Yeah, can't really see when I'm looking at things in there. There's Prince and Shelby. You know, Shelby, she did all the shouting. Yeah, go ahead, Chelsea, all that stuff. And of course, this is a lovely picture of Prince. Even he, and this is like 3 years ago. This is before we started growing the big old afro. He actually looks a lot younger and healthier there than he did just when he played the last series of concerts. Man, this is a 53-year-old man. Look at his face. God damn, you can see my face behind it. He's got a better skin and better face than me, and I'm 13 years younger now. Then again, he isn't fat either. But, so, this was a full concert. You know, Prince was jumping around the stage. He was playing guitar. He was walking around the stage. He was kicking ass, basically. Let's be honest. So these are some photos we got given. These are the Prince party I went to a year later. Someone went up to, I don't know what concert they were from, but they were definitely from the Welcome to Australia tour. So this is basically Prince. He was strutting with that guitar, and he was playing not so many lovable classics that we had at the recent shows. It was a lot more for the masses, this music. But just quickly, Diamonds and Pearls Tour 92. I was only 15 and a half. I didn't have a passport. There was no way my mum was letting me go, so that's why I didn't go to that series of shows. Then the next time I came to Australia was 2002, 2003. I think it was early 2003. 2 reasons I didn't go to the shows. 1, I was in South Korea teaching English. And 2, that was actually my brief period of sort of where I wasn't a fan of Prince. I mean, I was a fan of him, but I wasn't like hardcore. I was hardcore between 91 and 98. Then I was hardcore again from 2005 onwards. So that's why I didn't go to 2003. So that left 2012. Now, I remember we first heard of the concerts. We actually got worn out this time. I think it was February. Yep. I actually bought this t-shirt at the show too, but I haven't worn it for a couple of years. As you can see, it's just been worn out, and I actually want to keep a memory of it. I actually had a second one, and if you look at some of my very early videos, you'll see me wearing this black one, but this is a really sad story. What I did was, in the middle of summer, sometime I think it was January or February, it was before the next lot of shows anyway, I ended up throwing out a whole lot of shirts and clothes. I like to give, to the less wealthy and give them my old clothes. Of course, I wash them and put them in the bag and stuff. I'm not like these fools that throw dirty and ripped clothes in there, and I don't put anything soiled or damaged. And I accidentally put my black Prince shirt in the charity bin, and I'm kicking myself for it. So this is the only survivor I have from this period. And I mean, these were actually quite well made. I thought, rock show t-shirts will be badly made, but I was quite happy with this one. It's extra large, only just fits me now. I mean, I was probably about 115 back then, and I'm probably about 120 now, probably a bit less than 120, but anyway, too fat, but we can discuss my fatness in another video. But getting into the show, okay, now this was 5 years ago, so you're not going to get show to, and I'm probably not going to get 3,000 views of this video either, but anything's a start. What I did was, again, I was dancing and actually wrote on the back of my book, which was really, really dumb, but I actually ended up buying another copy for another Prince fan and posting it to him, but this was worth it for 20 bucks, I thought. And this was the booklet. It wasn't much change from the American one, as you can see. It's all about presents. And I wrote down all the songs he did, basically. And what I'll do is I'll read them out quickly, but first I'll just talk about the show. First of all, I was really lucky. Again, when you were buying the seats, you had to register with the site, and you had to basically take whatever seats they gave you. I got some gold reserve seats, which were 179 Australian, and I had to pay a card fee and everything. I think in all, it was around about $250 New Zealand for the tickets. And then the airfare, I mean, lucky, Melbourne's not that far from Auckland, so I mean, I could get there in 3 hours pretty much. I think I left at 10:30 in Auckland and arrived in Melbourne at 11:30 because they're 2 hours behind us. Of course, we catch up the time on when I went back. When I left, I think the flight took off at 12 o'clock at Melbourne time, and it got into Auckland at 5:30. And of course, Auckland in May, it's winter, not winter, but it's late autumn, and it was already dark by the time we landed. But anyway, we got there, and what happened was I got my seats and I was really happy. There was purple reserve and purple circle. Now the stage Prince had at the time was the gigantic cymbal stage, and it was basically shaped like this, the cymbal. And pretty much the cymbal was raised, and basically Prince had the whole band. I think the drummers, John Blackwell was on his drums in there, the keys were in front of him, DJ Rashida was up this end. He had, I think it was, Hannah was a backing singer. This is before he formed Third Eye Girl. And I think he also had Ida was on bass. She spent most of the time in this corner, although Prince encouraged her to move around. That's when, before Ida and Hannah became Third Eye Girl, they were like playing actually in the MPG. Shelby was like Prince. Prince was all over the place. He started here, he moved around here, and he was like moving around the whole stage. It was beautiful. Now my seat was about here. It was 3 rows from the front. It was about the best gold seat you could get. It was stepped seating. I got perfect views of Prince, and I felt really lucky because this was a place with pillars, and quite a few people spent all of the night staring at a pillar, which wasn't a good thing, basically. But I got lucky, and I was really grateful. And I mean, I'll tell you in a few minutes, basically, what happened when Prince started singing to me. So Prince, we know he died of hip problems, but he mustn't have been having serious hip problems then, because Prince was dancing up a storm. He was dancing, he was mostly spending most of his time singing and playing the guitar. He was definitely doing the whatever role you expect in the earlier concerts. Now, Prince was on fire. He was really good mood. He was leaping around. So we get to the show. We go in. I think it started about 8 o'clock. Even though it was May, it was still fairly warm in Melbourne. It was probably about 15 or 18 degrees. It wasn't that cold. And anyway, well, Prince came out and he started what he started all good shows with. He started Controversy. And Controversy was done really well. He played it quite long. He played the guitar solos. He was talking and he went, "Hey, Melbourne, y'all chose the right night to come and see me." I can remember that, and he was really happy, and he introduced the band and said, "And this pretty thing over here playing the bass is Ida. Ain't she fine?" And we got DJ Rashida up there in the back. We got Kirky J. Yep, Kirky J came along, but fortunately didn't do too much damage. And Shelby's way here shouting with me, and we got John on the drums over there, and John Blackwell, well, he played his ass off, would be a way to describe it. And then he moved into Sexy Dancer. And he did Happy Feet, because this was 2012, so that wasn't too long ago. There was a bit of corny stuff. And then he went into a version of Play That Funky Music. He was playing that song quite a lot back then. This was very, very different to piano and microphone tour. I mean, Prince spent very little time on the piano except for the sampler set halfway through. Most of the time, Prince was either dancing or Prince was playing his guitar. And the guitar, as you can see, it was his famous Yamaha. Sometimes he pulled out this Cherry Strat. as you can see. I think it's playing it in the sort of, you know, sexier numbers like Cream and I think I Would Die For You is Raspberry Beret. That's it. Yep. And then what happened? This was really cool. And I mean, I grew up with rap as a kid. I mean, I like rap now, but I grew up with all the stuff like Ice-T and NWA and Public Enemy. What was really cool was halfway through Fake Play That Funky Music, of all people to come up on stage, Flavor Flay. He came up and went, "Yeah, boy, yo, check this out." He did everything. He had the clock around his neck, and he started rapping with Prince. And basically, Flavor Flay came up and they started singing 911 as a joke and Fight the Power, and are doing snippets of all these Public Enemy songs. And then what happened was Chuck D came up on stage, and a whole lot of the Public Enemy crew. I think Professor Griff might have been with them too. And they all sang along with Prince, and I think there were a few lines of Undisputed that came out. It was really cool. You know, I mean, I always loved Public Enemy. It was really funny. We had no idea they were in Melbourne. And then after that, of course, Prince went into his hits. He didn't do samplers or bits. He did whole songs. He did Let's Go Crazy, Delirious, 1999. That got all the audience back because the audience was mostly white. Most of them had never really heard of Public Enemy. Of course, I had. I was going bananas, basically. You know, I mean, Fear of Black Planet, I mean, that's one of the best rap albums ever issued, as far as I'm concerned. And it takes a nation of millions. And Flavor Flay, yeah, boy, Flavor Flay. No, he's just funny, you know. But anyway, and then he did I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man, and something really cool happened during this bit. Was that Prince was around on my side of the cymbal, so he was looking directly at me. I was shaking my ass, as he puts it. I was really moving into it, and Prince winked at me. I'm convinced Prince was winking at me, and he really liked it. Prince was cool. And then basically he moved into the little red Corvette. He did Nothing Compares. You know, this order may be out a bit, you know, I mean, I can't really read my own handwriting, and this was quite a while ago. You know, but I mean, as you get older, once you get past 40, the memory starts to falter, I guess. And I was only like very young, 36 at the time. It was kind of like a birthday present because I saved up $1,000 for myself, and I also, because afterwards I went and hit the tables at Crown Casino, bad move, I lost $200, and my partner chipped in some money as well, so it was pretty cool. And then D did Raspberry Beret, and when he did Cream, he went nuts. Of course, I knew he wasn't going to do a door. Then he did Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, the cool. So he did the whole Michael Jackson thing with the Coke bottle percussion and everything. And I think at the time, I think Public Enemy were there. I think DJ Lord was actually jumped on the rack next to Rashida. DJ Lord is the new DJ in Public Enemy. It was actually like a Prince Public Enemy show. I loved it, you know. And anyway, then he did a Got to Be Real Me. He just seemed, at this time, he was just doing all these hits. And I remember there was a bit of an intermission there, and the girls came out. They did this song called, I think it was called I Want to Make You Feel My Love or something. It was Hannah and, who's that other chick in it? Yeah, Elise, that's it, yeah. And she was like, I think at that time, that was when Prince was thinking of forming, basically Third Eye Girl. And then he came back, he was in the new outfit, and then Prince had strapped, I think he changed guitars as well. I think he got rid of the Telecaster and brought out the Strat. And then I think at the end of the show, he was playing a Gibson of some kind, and then he basically went into Purple Rain, and Purple Rain always starts the second half off, and you just play it and noodle, and he was talking to the audience going, "Y'all too funky for me, Australia, come on, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie," and I was screaming Kiwi, 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 basically, yeah. And then the thing about the show too is that Peach and Black reviewed a lot of these shows, but they did not go to this show, basically, so all you Peach and Black kids might want to watch this too. Okay, and then basically went into a sample set, which wasn't that great. I mean, he had the piano out, there was like lights on the piano. He went, "Everybody go home and go ask how many hits Prince got. I got too many hits," you know, all that type of stuff. It was quite funny though. I'm not going to begrudge him. And then he did a melody, and that was Let's Go Crazy, Nasty Girl, Sign of the Times, and Darling Nikki. And then he moved into Dance With Me, which was really good because it was off Lotus. I remember at the time the newest album out was actually this 2010. And because that was hardly available, generally the last publicly available album was Lotus Flower Minneapolis Sound. This was like 2 years before Artificial Age. And I think the only other thing that had come out at this time was after Electric, and I think it was after the reloaded version of Extra Lovable, but this was before Rock and Roll Love Affair came out. So this is the period we're talking about. This is when Prince was doing things in the studio. I think Prince was also putting together Third Eye Girl at this time. Because once he finished the Welcome to Australia tour, he actually went on hiatus for a while. He made the songs, and I think he went back out on the road in late 2013, and that's when he did the Live Out Loud experience, and then he moved into basically the Hit and Run tour. But anyway, not the 86 one, the later one. Yep. Anyway, so after that he went into Pop Live, and I mean I always loved Pop Live. It was good. And then he went off stage, and people were screaming encore, encore. So he came and did an encore. He did Kiss. Then he went out again after one song, did another encore, and then he went He did Mountains, which made me go absolutely bananas again. And I like funky music. I mean, I know it's a really crappy trap off New Power Soul, but it was funky, and he did it really well. And then I've actually written in big language. After that, the Dance Electric, and I think he actually went back out and came back in and did the Dance Electric, and everyone went nuts. And then something really strange happened. The lights went out. Prince Levy said, I love you, I can't stay all night, I've got to go. You're way too funky for me. We've got to get to Brisbane. Because all the trucks were lined up and they'll go into Brisbane directly after the show. And I know a lot of you people don't know Australia very well, but Brisbane is like 2,000 or 3,000 kilometres from Melbourne. It's a very long way. So, you know, they probably spent all of the next day driving to Brisbane. Because even though Prince and the band went by plane, I mean, all the gear, like the giant cymbal set, all that stuff has to go by road pretty much. So, I mean, and then they've got to take it all the way to Brisbane and set it up. So, anyway, moving right along. After that, he went for 15 minutes. I remember I went down the front row because nearly everyone filed out of the room. And then what happened was the lights came on again. Everyone actually thought the show had finished. There's a purple box. And the highlight of that show was when at the last encore, once everybody gone out, they came rushing back in when the lights came back on and they heard the guitar going. And after Prince played Love They Will Be Done, he moved into a song which is known to the Prince cognoscenti as Days of Wild. And Days of Wild is pretty much one of the most legendary Prince songs ever. It was left off the Gold Experience in 1995. And basically it's probably one of his most obscene songs ever. I mean, pretty much it includes liberal use of the word motherfucker. Yes, I said it. Okay, so I mean, I think I've already said it a couple of more F words, and I think I've said shit a couple of times in this video. But he came out and sang it, but the funny thing about it was that most of the audience seemed to know the song, and of course, you know, this is 2012, so Prince is not swearing on stage, he doesn't like swearing. And every time, you know, and if a bitch ever told me she's a straight up mother, and you'd say nothing, and then the whole audience would scream, fucking! Really loud. And like Prince wasn't very happy, but everyone was swearing their heads off. It was so funny. And then after that, of course, Prince had all these people come up and dance on stage, and there was a really cute moment. He had like a little 10-year-old girl. It was very sweet, and she was holding his hand, and Prince was very nice to her, and everyone was having like a big party, and then finally it all ended, but it was great. Days of Wild, big surprise at the end of the show. Box came out, and I think it was two men carrying. I think it was either two roadies. I think it actually might have been John Blackwell, might have been one of the guys. It was two big African-American men. Prince leaped out of it with his Gibson guitar and started singing, Of All Things, Love Thy Will Be Done. And I was really enjoying it. And I moved in the front row, and then this guy came and said, hey, mate, you took my front row. Get out of my fucking row. You know? So I had to go back up to my row. And it was a great show. And finally it finished, and it was wonderful. And we stepped out. It was really funky. I mean, on my scale, this would have been about a 9 out of 10 show. I think back then I gave it 10 out of 10. But after seeing, you know, well, basically piano on the microphone, it was more intimate. I mean, I think that this show wasn't quite as good. But this was definitely one of Prince's better shows. Now, the venue itself was pretty good, but then I remember all they had for sale, the merchandise, was the overpriced tambourines for $100 each, the t-shirts for $50 each. I bought two, and they actually only charged me for one, but I never told them that. The programs, and the only music they had, because, you know, there could have been a good chance for them to move some copies of 2010, because even I didn't get a copy of this album until 2013. All they had for sale was the hits. And that was crazy. And it was the same again with this tour. The only CD they sell is hits. Although, at least at the last tour, we got new copies of Hit and Run Phase 2. But isn't that interesting? But anyway, it was a great show. I'm just going to quickly flick through and show you some pictures. And who knows, at the beginning or the end of the photo, I might even load some photographs I took of the actual time. So here we are. Now, Andy McKee, he was the Australian opening act. He played a few guitar numbers. Pretty unremarkable. Yep. So here's some of the stuff. This is Prince at the piano. You know, yeah. The twins, they were his hot dancers at the time. DJ Rashida, she was only his DJ for a short time. It's cool, you know, Prince, big bad X-Man. What's he got there? Oh, he's got a sword, actually. But whatever that, or he's got a flying V, yep. There's Shelley and her ear decorations. More Prince, you know. And here you are, here's classic Prince, circa 2012, and he's thinking, oh man, I really got to grow an afro. You know, I've just got all this stuff here, you know, so it's pretty cool book, actually. I'm glad I kept this, you know. Here's Damaris Lewis, his love interest at the time. She was basically on stage just to look beautiful, pretty much. So, yeah, so there you are. That's Prince's Welcome to Australia show, Melbourne, 15th of May, 2012. And, yep, just a shout out to all my Prince buddies, Peach and Black, Nightchild Ethereal. Hope you're well, mate. I haven't heard from you for a while. So I hope you're out there, and everyone else out there in Purple Space. Gone but not forgotten. May the rain come down and the tears will fall. Prince, we love you.